Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Where the Heck Are the Albans? And where the heck are the Albans? Well, it's just me today. I am actually in the town of St. Charles. A couple first things. Yes, I did shave. Also, back on the hot cocoa crawl, I had asked everybody which hat they liked better, the English style walking hat or the Trinity cap. And everybody said the Trinity cap. So for Valentine's Day, Becky got me a couple of Trinity caps, and there it is. So thanks for your input, and Becky used that input for a nice Valentine's Day gift for me. So the reason I'm by myself today, Becky had asked or talked to me a little bit about it, and she says, you know, you travel so much for your job, and you see so many neat things, and sometimes I forget to take notes of where I saw something, or if I do know where something is, sometimes it's just hard to get the family all together, you know, on a weekend or whatever. So she said, why don't you just bring your camera, and when you're in some of these towns, when you're far away from home, why don't you go ahead and just film a few things? So that's what I'm doing. The job took me out here to St. Charles, Illinois, which is about, I'd say about an hour and 20 minutes away from home. I just decided that St. Charles is known for a lot for sculptures and art. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and since I'm going to be in the area, I'll film a few of those little art sculptures and show you some fun little things. Okay? So let's go on out. It's called Mount St. Mary Park. Mount St. Mary Park. And this is a sculpture park where you can walk around. They've got paths, and you can look at all the sculptures. Now, the thing with this park is that they take away a lot of the sculptures in the fall. And those are the temporary ones. And then they bring them back in the spring and summer. And those temporary sculptures are you can actually purchase them. But the ones that are permanent here, I'll take you around for a little bit, and I'll show you some of these permanent sculptures in the sculpture park. And so here we go. Dogs are welcome as long as they are on a leash, and the park opens at dawn and they close at 9 o'clock at night. Now the path itself is pretty icy, but we'll walk around just a little bit. Okay, so this sculpture is called the Six-Finned Rocket by sculptor Howard Russo. And they do say if you are interested in making a donation to sculpture in the park, go to STCS, or it's actually STC, St. Charles Sculpture.org. And there it is, Six-Finned Rocket. They definitely need some salt out here. This is a sheet of ice. Okay, here's our next sculpture in the park. I don't see a name on this one. So the sculpture park has this loop, and it winds all the way around. And if you were to walk the entire thing, it is a mile-long walk. So you can get some exercise in when it's nicer weather, and come on down to the park and get some exercise in. Get a nice mile walk in. I believe this sculpture is called Dog Potty in the Park. Actually, I think that's an actual fire hydrant. Never mind. So warning, this is an unsupervised area. There are inherent risks associated with water. Parents must supervise their children at all times. There's this nice little bridge with a creek going through it. Hi, Mr. Toad. So he's all dressed up for the winter. He's got his scarf on. I like this bench over here. It is actually shaped like a leaf, like an oak leaf, which is very fitting considering it's under an oak tree. Now I'm not going to walk all the way across the park here. However, there is a sculpture that you can see if it decides to focus my camera. It's right there. There is some sort of sculpture over there. And this one here is called Nice Pair by Ray Kobold. Nice Pair. That's weird because I only see one. This one's called My Chainsaw Got Away From Me and I Screwed Up. So if you remember me saying that they bring in they take down some of the temporary sculptures during the winter time, this is the stand to one of those sculptures. This piece is called Interim X by Bruce Nemi. Interim X. If you look at it this way, you can see the X. They do have this very nice little sitting area over here in the middle of the park. We'll go in and walk around it. So there are benches and such, and the rocks play music. In nicer weather, of course. There's the river over there, and part of the river walk. And over on the other side over here, they have a nice eating gazebo right there. And then just beyond that is a really nice park for the kids with this huge slide. I gotta go over there and show you guys this slide. Look at the size of this slide. This thing is massive. They got a plane and a skydiver up there, and I can see why. This thing is super tall. It's called Sky Builders. And there's staircases that go all the way up. It weaves back and forth. And this slide goes here, around this little bend, and twists and turns. This one's got kind of a straight drop, and then comes down into this corkscrew over here. This thing is awesome. And it is massive. And if you're kind of a wimpy little kid, well, then you stick with this one over here. But if you're a real kid, you go on the Sky Builder. Look at it, it's even got a little climbing wall. That is insane. This sculpture is called Gamora. No, it's not. It's not. I thought it was Gamora from Godzilla. It's just called By the River's Edge. Another one by John Kobold. So, this is beautiful. And all around the sculpture, look, it has leaves. Bronze leaves. This thing's pretty darn cool. The Park District wants to thank you for not feeding ducks bread. Bread makes them ill. It doesn't contain the right nutrients. However, you are encouraged to feed the ducks. They like cut seedless grapes, oats, cooked rice, birdseed, peas, corn, and chopped lettuce. So if you're ever gonna feed a duck, bring those things, but don't give ducks bread. It makes them sick. Got some pretty noisy geese over there. Look, we got some Canada geese. See them swimming over there? Hiding in the bushes. And here's another one of those stands where the temporary sculptures would go. So this one would have been called Like the Stars Forever. Another one by Jane or Ray Cobalt. He's a very popular artist around here. And yet one more where sculpture would normally stand. Robo Wacko by Todd Willen. So we're gonna have to come back here in the spring or the summer and see some of the temporary ones. All right, this one, I like this one a lot. This one's called Natural Wonders. Look at this. It's a boy on a turtle looking through a spyglass. And on the other side, got a little bunny rabbit over here. A little rabbit friend on the back. Isn't that wonderful? He's looking out. He's looking over here. He's looking out over the river, checking everything out. This one I'm walking up to. It's kind of an unofficial entrance to the park, but you can see the guy sitting up there. I think he's going to need no introduction. Let's walk around to the front of it. Yes, and here he is, Humpty Dumpty. However, they entitled him Mr. Eggwards by Kimber Freeberg. Mr. Edwards. So let's talk about Humpty Dumpty here for a minute. Does anybody know the history of Humpty Dumpty and how he came about? Well, I'll give you a little lesson here. He was first introduced as an egg in Lewis Carroll's Alice Through the Looking Glass. And but the real story of Humpty Dumpty is he is actually a cannon. That's right. And I'm gonna walk back to the car because it is freezing cold out here. It is only 19 degrees today. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the history of Humpty Dumpty. Holy macanoli, is it cold outside. Oh, ho, ho. So yeah, 19 degrees and kind of windy, so my ears and my hands are a little red. But anyway, the story of Humpty Dumpty. Some people do not realize that Humpty Dumpty was not an egg. Like I was saying before, Lewis Carroll turned him into an egg for the story of Alice and the Looking Glass. However, the true story is Humpty Dumpty was actually the name of a cannon used by the Royalists during the English Civil War back in 1648. He was big and round, and he was one of the most powerful cannons ever made at that time. And every time a shot was fired from it, he would rock back and forth, Humpty Dumpty. During the battle, the wall, he sat on a very high wall, and the wall was just completely bombarded with enemy blast, and Humpty Dumpty fell. Well, even though it was the prize cannon of the Royalists, when it fell from such a great height that it broke in several pieces, and all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. And there's the story of Humpty Dumpty. He sat on a wall and he had a great fall. My next job is actually in a town called Marengo, Illinois. I am in St. Charles right now, and Marengo is about a 40-mile drive from St. Charles. So we'll drive up there, and there's one more little piece of kind of weird sculpture that I'll show you in Marengo. and that's actually where we're gonna have lunch today. So, although I'll get there probably around 1 o'clock. So, and my job isn't until 3, but we have to be there a half an hour before we start the inspection. So, I got to be there at 2:30, but I'll get there around 1 so I can have lunch and then head on over to Marengo. But it's going to be one heck of a drive home from Marengo. I think it's almost a 2-hour drive. So, we'll see you in Marengo, and I'll show you one last sculpture there. The long and winding road that leads to Marengo. Well, leave it to me. I always wind up on some kind of old back road or gravel road, and look what the GPS is telling me to do in like a half a mile. Leave the road. What the heck? Ooh, check out all these birds up here. These birds are gonna fly when I drive past. There must be something good to eat around here. Look at that. They didn't move. Those birds didn't move. That's crazy. Like birds of steel. So I want to take you by one other place, or two other places, before we get to Marengo. And these two places are going to be on the vlog, either this coming spring or summer. I'm not sure which. But there is the largest train museum in the continental US, and I think it's like the second or third largest in all of the world. And it's in this place called Union, Illinois, which is on my way to Marengo. Let me turn the camera around here. So it's called the Illinois Railroad Museum, and it's a non-for-profit. This does not get any kind of federal or government funding, but all that you see out there is the Railroad Museum. But they have got all sorts of trains and things like that, and they have a 5-mile loop railroad, and that will take you. Oh, look at that! Look at this. Hold on. Let me just stop the car. It's safe to stop the car because there is no traffic around me, whatever. Look at that old locomotive. Look at that. That is crazy. But yeah, we'll definitely come back here in the spring and see the Railroad Museum. And the other place is a Wild West town, and I'm going to take you by there only because, and we're going to go there this spring or summer, but I'm going to take you by there because it's going to go along with our sculptures, our art today, okay? So that's coming up down the road here in just a minute. And I am in the middle of nowhere. Do you hear banjos? Ding, 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 ding. Okay, there's our sign for the Wild West town. Hey, doggy. And here is the sculpture art I wanted to show you. Look at this. Isn't this gorgeous? Check this out. If I can zoom in or zoom out. Look at that. Wild West town. That's the first car I've seen in like a half an hour. So yeah, Wild West town, and there's the sculpture of the cowboys. And this place is really, really cool as well. As a matter of fact, one of my best friends in high school, his dad used to be the sheriff out here. There's a new sheriff in town. So there it is. And okay, now on to Marengo. Okay, we are at the Fire and Ice restaurant in Marengo. And this is what I wanted to show you. Look at the size of that ice cream cone. That thing is huge. But let's go on into Fire and Ice restaurant and have a bite to eat, shall we? So we'll take a quick look at the menu. Get smoked. They got all sorts of things for ribs and pulled pork, all the burgers, homemade soups and salads, all sorts of different sandwiches. So, Papatro's pastrami, that sounds good too. The hog dog, Hogzilla pulled pork. So we got all sorts of great sides. So some good appetizers. Oops, sorry. And they also got some really great handcrafted different kind of ice creams. Milkshakes. Here's their starters. Onion rings, and chicken tenders, and fried pickle spears, and fried mac and cheese bites, and all that good stuff. So, and they got a kids menu as well. This is the Juicy Lucy. The cheese is actually inside the burger. And I got it with fries. And so we're going to check out Fire and Ice. There is the inside of the Juicy Lucy. Look at all that cheese. Yum. They actually have this great little card too at Fire and Ice restaurant. It's called the Piggy Punch Card. Every time you come in, you get a punch on the punch card. And there's my first one right there. And after you get 10 meal purchases, you receive $10 off your next purchase. And as you guys know, I am always on the lookout for a great burger. And I have to tell you, I am going to give Fire and Ice 5 out of 5 stars. The Juicy Lucy, it was cooked perfect. They've got like the seasoned fries that were really good. I'm not a huge fry person, but like next time I come in, we're definitely going to come back here. I'm going to bring the family. I'll get the tater tots. I love tater tots. And I must have skipped over those on the menu. I didn't even see them, but I'll get those next time. But if you want a fantastic burger and great service, our waitress, or my waitress, was just absolutely fantastic. Definitely check out Fire and Ice, and their address, and I'll put it right down here below me, so I'll kind of back up so there's room. It is 104A West Railroad Street, and that's in Marengo, Illinois, 60152. Highly, highly, highly recommend this place. Come visit them. And they also make their own ice cream, from what I understand. So, hence the huge ice cream cone out in front. With that being said, if you like what you see, as always, give us a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe down below, and we'll see you guys next time on Where the Heck Are the Albans? Bye, everyone.